Right now, I'm going to be searching for some of the cheapest properties that I can possibly find available on Rightmove for sale and assessing whether they're actually good return on investment buy-to-lets or are they absolutely terrible. I've bought hundreds of properties over the last 16, 17 years of being full-time in property. I've made millions of pounds, but I've also bought some real stinkers. So let's see what we can find available right now on Rightmove. So I'm going to start by just going to Warsaw because Warsaw is where I'm from and that's where I own a lot of properties. And I'm going to do within 40 miles because I don't really care where it is. A good deal is a good deal. Property types, houses. The reason I like houses is because flats, you've got leasehold flats. In England, they're mostly leasehold, which means you don't own the land and you can't develop them. You're going to have to pay service charges, ground rent, and they can be a bit more problematic. 38,000. Well, we're going to search from lowest price. Now, guaranteed, we're going to come across an absolute ton of auction properties. And I don't mind auction properties. Like, they're good. I mean, this one's on at £10,000 in Stoke-on-Trent, SC6. Not a terrible area. It's going on the market in just a couple of days. However, it'd be very interesting to see what this actually ends up selling for because it's on for 10,000 and it is obviously a massive refurb. I mean, if you could buy that for 20,000 and spend 30,000 on it, 50,000 pounds in total on cash, what would be the end value? What I normally do is just go to search the sold properties. I mean, this one sold for 50, but it's also in bad condition, isn't it? You can see 100, 100, 107, 120. So it's probably, that would be, if I could buy that for 20, 30,000, that would be absolutely amazing. In fact, I wonder whether they'd be open to sell it to me as a pre-auction offer. This is one of the things that I'll do. I'll just ring up and say, would they be open? Because even if I bought that for 30,000, I'm onto a winner, aren't I? Because the end value is 100. So I'm going to call the agent and see if they're open to a pre-auction offer. Cash. How much could I buy it for? Let's work the numbers back. End value about 100. Refurb has got to be at least 30. So 70. I need to make at least 30 grand profit myself. So I could probably buy that for 40. But let's go in with 30, 40 grand. Let's see what they say. 2 days it's going to auction. So if I just come in and say, look, 30, 35 grand cash. What are they saying? It's on at 10. They might be a bit stressed. Because they might be thinking, man, if someone offers 15 grand, I've got to sell it. If there's not much interest in the auction for whatever reason, might be a football match on or something, they could be stressed. Also, it's marketed by a Birmingham branch. A lot of Birmingham people, they're not worried about Stoke. Hello, Sylvania. I'm just ringing about a property in Stanfield Road that's going to auction in a couple of days. I'm a cash buyer. Do you know if they'd be open to a pre-auction offer if it was a decent price, or are they... do you know what the situation is?
With this property, because it's so close to auction, we're not currently accepting private offers right now.
Fair enough.
If it was like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, we'll be more open to it.
Yeah.
Because it's so close to the auction and we have over 100 people that are taking interest into this
Yeah.
at the moment. So we're not currently accepting any offers.
No, fair enough. All right.
Try on the auction day and see if you can be able to win that bid.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Hey, I really appreciate your time and I look forward to seeing how much it sells for. Thank you so much.
Okay, then good luck with it all.
I appreciate it. Cheerio. So again, like, people are worried to pick up the phone and make calls, but this is what you need to do. Because imagine, as it happened, she said, no, it's too close. They wouldn't be interested. But imagine if she'd have said, they might be. What are you thinking? It does happen. Normally, 1 in 3 people that sell from auction are open to a pre-auction offer. So it's worth making those calls. I'm saying that's going to sell for 50 grand. Even at 50 grand, I think it's a good buy. 50 grand, 30 grand refurb, end value 100. It's not too bad. I wouldn't personally buy it 50 grand, but let's see what else we can find. Here's one, £25,000. This is a garage. I mean, are you getting at least all 4 garages? How many garages do you get? I mean, potentially, could you maybe get planning permission to knock these garages down and turn them into houses? Would there be access? Would there be, how much would they rent out for? I mean, I'm not particularly excited about it, but so far, that's the cheapest non-auction property that we found, but it's not a house, and I'm not really interested. So is this auction? £25,000. Cash buyers only. 4 units. So presumably, so that's gonna be 100 grand then, isn't it? But they're selling all 4 units. That seems decent in Loughborough. Let's find if it's good or not. I mean, could that be serviced accommodation, for example? £100,000, 4 units. Nice condition. And I wonder what you're buying. It must be, it's leasehold. It's not to say leasehold's terrible, but you're not owning the land. You're just owning the units within. So there might well be service charges and stuff. That looks interesting, but it's cash only and you have to buy the 4 all together, I think. Yeah, it looks all right. I wonder if you could do it as serviced accommodation. Look, the seller has 4 units to be sold together for 100 grand. If you did that as serviced accommodation though, i.e. Airbnb, that could bang because it's in a good location. You got 4 properties for 100 grand. Maybe. Would they accept serviced accommodation? Let's find out. Let's call the agent.
This call may be recorded for training and monitoring purposes.
This call may also be recorded for training purposes. In this business, you've just got to be on the phone. If you just do this every day, or not even every day, an hour a week, just bap, 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 you're going to find some bangers.
There is no one at the office at present to
Oh,
take your call.
shame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on the saved list and maybe call back later. How do you put stuff on the saved list? You just click the heart button. I'm not logged in. Create an account and then you can look at all your saved properties. So let's see what else we can find. If it says guide price, not always, but generally speaking, that means that it's on auction. So it's an indication. So this is on auction. Under the Hammer, same company in Birmingham. See, what I should have done really when I was on the phone to that last lady is I should have asked her about a few properties because she said, if you'd have rang up a bit earlier, there might have been, like this one is not on until March. It's now the 19th, I think, of February. So they might be open to a pre-auction offer. If they say yes, they're open to a pre-auction offer, then what you can do is you can just work out your offer, go view it, put it forward, cash. If they accept, you can buy on auction terms still or not. I like buying on auction terms because it's fast and it means that they can't pull out. It also means you've got to have your cash ready, but it is a way to get banging deals. If you're going to buy from auction, make sure you know what you're doing, but a lot of bangers are on auction. Under the Hammer are killing it, aren't they, in the Midlands? Get connected as well. The best way to get deals is to get good relationships. If you can get a good relationship with one agent, one lady within one agent, and you buy from them, and the best way to get a good relationship is to buy from them. So if you buy from somebody, they'll just keep passing you stuff over and over. Oh, this one's open to a pre-auction. This one is. Oh, this one. So relationships is key. So here we go. £40,000. £40,000 in West Bromwich. And it's in good condition. Looks ready for rent. Fantastic. Let's see what's going on. So firstly, it's leasehold, which is not good. Secondly, it's shared ownership, which is terrible. Shared ownership means that you're buying a part of the property. I'm not even sure how much of the property you're going to own. It's often 50%. So you'll pay 40 grand. The house might only be worth 80 grand. You only own half of it, which means that the other half of the house you have to rent. So if you buy a shared ownership house, you can't rent it out, you have to live in it. You have to pay mortgage and rent. It really sucks. I would definitely never, ever buy a shared ownership property. And they're very hard to sell as well because once you're trapped in and you have to, it's complicated, it's horrible. I would never do it. So that's shared ownership. What's this? A lodge. Surely that's not in the UK. Oh, it is. It's in Worcester, Mel. Okay. I've got properties not far from Malvern in Worcestershire. So this is a what? This is a Robin Hood Park. Aha. So this is the problem with this property. This property will not be mortgageable because it'll be a non-standard construction. Does it say it is? Holiday home, 42 grand. So yeah, this is a non-standard construction property, which means it's not built from standard bricks and mortar. So you're very unlikely to be able to get a mortgage on a property like this. And it's not going to hold its value over the years in the same way that bricks and mortar perhaps would. Not always the case. So, but listen, if you buy it cash for 42 grand, if you can get a high rent, as a holiday let, it could work. But I like to own bricks and mortar, own the land where I can get mortgages on it, because then I could buy it cash, I could refinance it, I could borrow against it, and then use that loan to buy more properties, so you can leverage your money much better if you're buying properties that are mortgageable. Here we go, another shared ownership. So this 47 grand, we're delighted to offer 27% share. No thanks. That means that the remaining 73% is held by Midland Heart. I mean, if you're going to do that, you may as well just rent, really. 25% shared ownership. No. Auction. Interesting. So we're at £50,000 so far, and we've not really come across anything within 40 miles of Walsall. So now we've got quite a bit of land. Now, if you're going to buy land, I mean, this land looks like, I bet any money it's not got planning. Does it have planning? Oh, it does have planning. Fair enough. But it says 50 to 80 grand. Okay, cool. So this looks interesting. Opportunity to build a 2-bedroom detached dwelling in a corner plot in a village location of Cockshut. That doesn't sound very nice, does it? Cockshut. Okay. So this looks interesting. So it's got planning. Great. So what you'd want to do with this property, if it's got planning to build a 2-bedroom detached house, is it's all about how much would a new build 2-bedroom detached house be worth in this area. Now, I don't know because I've never heard of Cockshut before, so I don't know the area. This is the house. So what you'd want to do is work out how big is the house going to be that you've got planning for. What would it be worth? If it would be worth, say, 200,000, great. How much is it going to cost to build? And then you can work out if there's profit or not to be made in the deal. But this looks interesting. Maybe it's got profit in it. Maybe it's not. 50 grand, 25% shared ownership, no thanks. And who are the suckers that keep buying these 25% shared ownerships? Really off. Okay, what's this? Ground floor apartment. See, this property, it's just got quite a short lease, 61 years remaining on the lease, and it's auction. So if you're buying a leasehold property, always check how long the lease is. And generally speaking, if it's more than 100 years, it's not. If it's like 150, 200 years, and it's going to outlive you, that's not too bad. If the lease is less than 80, if it's like 60 years, that means that at some point you're going to have to pay to renew the lease, which is going to be quite expensive. You'll pay the freeholder. So you need to work out, okay, how much is it going to cost? How much does it cost to renew the lease? If it's only going to cost you 30 grand, all right, great. How much would the property be worth on a long lease? Am I making money? It's got to make money. Most people buy properties with their feelings. You've got to buy with your head and your numbers and your calculator. Okay, here's an interesting one. £55,000 in Stoke-on-Trent. It's not on auction, which is good because it means we can work the numbers out a bit easier. Auction is a great opportunity. So this property is on the market at £55,000 or offers in excess of. It just came on last week and it looks like it needs a refurb. So with this type of project, you need to work out how much is it going to be worth if it was in good condition. So what we need to do is look at the sold properties, 68, 72, 60. See, this is terrible. Because look at all these properties. I mean, nothing's really selling for more than about 65, 70 grand in the area. So if you bought that for 55, you're going to have to spend at least 25 grand on the refurb, which means that you've lost money. Why would anyone buy this property? You're going to lose money on the refurb. Go through all that headache as a volunteer, a charity refurber. No, thank you. That's overpriced. We're struggling a little bit, to be honest. Okay, another plot where you can buy a house and build. Normally, what I've found, this has got planning permission, is when people are selling a property and it's got planning for just one house. Not always, but normally, a lot of house self-builders are interested. A self-builder is a building company or a builder that wants to build it to live in themselves. And they're not too bothered about what the profit is. They just want to build their own dream home in that area. So you're competing with these self-builders. What I like is when it's got planning permission for like 2 or 3 houses, because that way self-builders aren't really interested. Now developers are interested, but developers are looking at it with the same eyes, which is this has to make money. So you've not got people offering silly prices and trying to gazump you. So normally if it's just building for one house, you can make money, absolutely, but often not. So here's one, £65,000. This is in Stoke-on-Trent. It doesn't really need much of a refurb. It looks a bit untidy, but this is, I mean, you might maybe need to spend a bit of money touching it up, but it doesn't look too shabby. It's going to need probably what? New bathroom, carpets, paint, maybe 5-10 grand on it. It's on for 65,000. It was added today. That will be sold in no time. Let's see if that is a good price. If I go to, it looks like it's in a decent area. Near the hospital, lots of stuff around, hustle and bustle. In Burslem. Okie dokes. Let's see in the street what's selling. So 75, 107, 90, 97, 67, 65. Some of these cheap ones, they will need a refurb. 100. So this could be decent. It's on at a fair price. It's just come on today. So now, if I'm going to buy this as a buy to let, I need to know how much am I going to be able to rent this for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the postcode. So it's in Lawn Street. So it never gives you the full address. So sometimes you need to be a bit of a detective to find the full address. I need the door number. If I get the door number, then I can work out the full postcode. To get the door number, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in. There we go. 23. So 23 Lawn Street. So if I now copy and paste this into Google, 23. Also, Googling the address will just give you often interesting information. I mean, for a start, we've got the full postcode, ST61AR. We can see its previous transactions. So it was bought in 2004 for 25 grand. But to be fair, that was over 20 years ago. So of course it was selling for really cheap. House prices tend to double in price every 10 years in England. So now we've got the postcode, what we can do is we can go to Rightmove and we can search the postcode, but we can search properties for rent. And let's see if we can find anything within 1/4 mile. Yes, we can. 5. So this 450 is a house share. So you're just renting a room. So a room will go for 450. What about a house? 2-bed terraced house, £795. And this is in Jackfield Street, which is within 1/4 mile. We can probably find. We need to make sure as well that we're comparing apples for apples and not apples for oranges. So this is the name of the street, and our property is in Lawn Street. There it is, Lawn Street. So yeah, it's like a stone throw away. It's in the same estate. There's no big, massive main roads. So that's going to be similar. So that is on the market at $795 for rent. Same sort of size house. You know, much nicer condition, but $795. So, okay, let's see what else we got. $400, but that's for a room in a house share. $675. This one is a 3-bedroom house, but doesn't quite look in great condition. $675. So, $695. Again, this is a 2-bed property in Tellwright Street. Let's see where that is. That is so close. Look, there's Lawn Street. They're literally on the same little estate. And this is $695. This is probably the best comparison, isn't it? It's 2 bedrooms. It's already let, which is good. It says it's gone. It's let. So you're going to get probably, depending on the condition of the property, you're going to get around about that $750 mark by the looks of things. So if we bought that property for 65 grand, we'd have to give it a little bit of a small refurb, but we could then rent it out for probably around about £700 a month, which would be over 10% yield. And if you use debt to buy it, you don't need a deposit of 25%. If we bought that property for 65 grand, our deposit is going to be about £16,000 plus your legals, potentially stamp duty, depending on if you're a first-time buyer or how you're buying it. So, bit of a refurb, what, 5-7 grand? So for about 25 grand, you could probably buy that property and have a small mortgage on the property. And your mortgage would be, what, 75%? So your mortgage is going to be 48 grand. If you're paying 4%, which a lot of lenders are happy, but again, this would depend. You're going to be paying per month £162 on the mortgage. That's not bad. If you're paying £162 a month on your mortgage payments, but you're getting £700 in rent, even after a bit of maintenance, a bit of management, you're going to be left with a good few £100 a month in profit. So if you're making, let's say you're making about $350 a month in profit, which you probably would be, times that by 12, that's going to be £4,200 a year in net profit. But divide that by the amount you put down, which is probably going to be about 25 grand, which is going to mean that your return on investment is going to be 16.8%, which is a hell of a lot better than the banks. And not only are you getting a nice return, you've also got a property which is going to go up in value and appreciate over time. So I think we found a pretty cheap banger on Rightmove in about 20 minutes. And this is basically what I do at the crash course. If you want to come and spend a full day with me in person, where we can find deals together, get on the phones, you can ask me questions throughout the day, then I'm running a property investors crash course. Tickets are £1 because I want you to come. So if you click the link in the description, come and join me for a day. I'm going to be in Birmingham, Manchester, London. I'd love to spend a day finding deals with you at the property investors crash course. I'll see you there.